So hey all. Well, in a couple of days, Shag and I are going to the dentist for my biannual checkup, his annual checkup. I'm not particularly concerned about it because the last time that they said, there were no concerns that they had, and I've been trying to keep up with my usual routine of brushing my teeth and all that good stuff. So fingers crossed it'll be another clean bill of health because usually it is, but there's always that little anxiety about, what if I have a cavity or something. But I mean, I don't think I should because I don't do that much sugary sweet things these days, and I think I should be okay for the most part. I mean, I'm really not expecting any issues, but I'll feel better when it's over. Um, in writing news, I'm still working on the brainstorming. I have been rebuilding some of the notes that I cleared out. A lot of the stuff that I have looked over, that I've written, that I had already established, I kind of like. So, when I was at a certain point, I had tried to hit the great reset button, or so I called it, and just kind of starting everything from scratch so I could be sure that it was where I wanted it to be. But I mean, there are a lot of things that, I'm coming to realize that particularly the way I do stories, that a lot of it depends on what came before. And, particularly once I get over the hurdle of the first one, there's always the series starts developing. And I mean, I try and think of it as like, whatever path that ends up being taken affects all the future volumes. And perhaps logically so, like building a house from the foundation up, and that sort of results in, if you change something, it causes a butterfly effect. Now, I mean, by and large, there are some like main thematic and conceptual things that I want to keep for certain parts of the stories. Some of them will probably just stay with the original idea I'd had, but maybe refine and tweak some of the ways of how it gets there, and and just do the best I can, because I enjoy having the kind of confidence that I've generally had with Winterfall, which is that when the story is outlined, it feels good, and I think I'm pretty confident in it. And sometimes that hasn't always been the case in some of the earlier installments, and part of that is because I've been, uh, you know, um, working on the, short stories ahead of the main project, and sometimes that results in things not lining up exactly, or I don't know. There's just been some things that, um, I was trying to do what I did with Winterfall with the other series. It's like start with the mainline entry and expand from there rather than the other way around. Now, I mean, I do think I have some good ideas that are still sitting here waiting to be completed, but I think I'm going to try and, I guess, build on what I have, and rather than start from scratch with most of the projects, I might just do that with one project in particular. But I mean, for right now, I'm just trying to see what I can do, and just uh, working on my notes. And although I don't know if I'll have anything ready to go and finished like I had hoped, I do still have like 2 or 3 things that are more or less complete that can be worked on, and a bunch of other stuff that may just sit until I complete it as time goes on, because I was hoping that by focusing on one particular project for part of April and all of May, that I would be able to have something ready to start by the beginning of June. And I'm not sure if that's going to be the case. I have some stuff that I've written notes on, some things that I've kept from stuff that I didn't get rid of, that I really liked. And I don't know. It's just, right now things are very in flux. I'm kind of just trying to see what I can do while I have the time to fiddle around a little bit. And when I hit June, I'll probably make a decision on what I'm working on next for big projects. Um, as far as video news, I am not sure what I'm going to do today. I'm probably going to do the video plates for a couple of videos maybe, and do some editing for one I didn't complete last week. and then just kind of keep working on that for a while. That probably will be it. We'll see, but it's probably going to be, as much as I can get done in the time that I have. Um, let's see. Books I'm reading. I am still working on When the World Was Young. I haven't started the Iron Age yet, and I'll probably take a break for a while before I do, just because anthologies are a lot. They're little stories that I read one at a time, but it's also just very daunting as a reviewer. And I think that for the short term anyway, I'll probably come back to it after I finish maybe one of the other two things. Because I have figured out that reading 3 projects at once is a little much for me, and 2 is a better fit. So I'm probably just going to read 2 things at any one time and just kind of work through those as I go, and I think it'll be pretty good. Um, I did finish Patrick Stewart's autobiography. It's really good. I highly recommend it. I don't know if I'll review it though, because honestly, I would, all I can really say is I would highly recommend it if you're a fan of his work. If you're interested in him as an actor, I would highly recommend it. But I don't know if there's anything I could say about it that would really just be any more than that. And it's a lot of interesting details about his life. I've kind of had hoped he would talk about Star Trek a little more than he did. But as an overview, it's like he touches on the important things, I think, and he shares a lot of good stories from throughout his entire career and throughout his entire life. And it's a really good book and a very good read. Let's see. As far as the 2 things I've started reading now, Two Souls of Fangcrest Manor, which I am told is a novella. It's shorter than I kind of expected it was going to be, because I'd read a chapter and it said it was already 10% through, but so far I've read and reasonably enjoyed the first 2 chapters. It's a little early to form an opinion as of yet, but so far my impressions are positive. It's written by Damas Vocis, I think, or I probably am mispronouncing that because I know it's Latin. But apologies if I screwed that up. But it's about 2 characters that travel to a place in England and the UK, and they discover that they've both been here before, in a sense. And I mean, for right now, that's all I'm going to say, because I don't have enough yet to form a recommendation/impression, but it's starting out pretty well. So I'll say that much is good. I'm also going to be reading Transformations by Bernard Douve, also known as Shakot Goldfur. Now, most of you probably know that I'm not Goldfur's greatest literary fan, because, to be honest, a lot of his works are very just below average, in my view. And what I mean by that is that a lot of his stories really are just kind of like, I don't know, they're just lacking in compelling factors. The protagonists are often people that are well off, that have like support systems that are pretty much hug boxes, and they don't really need to do anything to solve their problems. They're all just kind of already equipped with what they need, and opposition, when it does pop up, is usually very slight and easily dismissed. And all that together just really has just formed in a pattern which, for me anyway, I just find it very difficult to read and enjoy their work these days. But I will say this much. Transformations is one of their pieces that I really did enjoy. And it was probably serves the benefit of being one of the early pieces of theirs that I read before I was jaded by some of their later works. And, I'll say that it's a good self-contained story, that it is, from what I remember, it was fairly entertaining. And although it suffers from a lot of the same things that I just mentioned, it somehow manages to work really well, maybe because it's just sort of a little bit of a character piece rather than any kind of developed story. And I'm also curious, because it's been many, many decades since I've read it. I want to know if it still holds up after all this time to me. if I still enjoy it as much as I did before. And I will probably do a review for it because um, I think I did a written one a long time ago, but I'd like to do a video review for it. And I also would kind of like to see how my impression has held up, and also if I have any new insights having read it again. So I found the book Forest Tales, which I think covers everything up to transformations. I haven't decided if I'm going to read it yet because, of course, given the things that I mentioned, I know that there are persistent uh, features in his writing which usually just doesn't thrill me, and it's something I have a hard time getting past because I have what I consider to be pretty high standards when it comes to writing, and if I talk up your stuff, usually that means that you have nailed it really well to those high standards. And that is something I really think that particularly Royce and Neutrino should be proud of, because it is rare that I am impressed to the level that I have been with your work. Uh, so, shout out to Royce and Neutrino. And also, I will give my impressions of these books once I've gotten a little bit further along. But I will say that I have high expectations of Fangcrest, that I think Transformations is going to be a fun journey back through memory lane, and I will get back to When the World Was Young when I am inclined to read the Iron Age. Or I think the Iron Age is for the Bronze Age. Anyway, I will check it out. Now, as far as other topics, I'm not sure if I really have too much to share right now. I've got Star Trek Las Vegas planned. I am putting Battlestar Galactica Convention on the books for October. I might be doing a FurryCon Labor Day weekend, which, if so, would be 3 cons in a relatively short period, but it's kind of the way the cookie crumbles. But overall, I mean, I think that would be handleable if I choose to do that, which right now the only question mark is MFM. And if I go to that, it'll be a quiet, small convention, which is usually the way I like it. And for that purpose, for just going to a FurryCon and just hanging out, and possibly seeing if I get a duct tape dummy made, it's a plus side. Now, as far as that goes, it's like, am I considering another fursuit? Maybe. Right now, some of them don't fit me, and I'm also deciding what to do with some of the ones that I've had for a long time, and debating on if any of them are salvageable, and if so, what I want to do with them. There's one or two that I just wouldn't feel comfortable selling or giving to anybody else, just because I don't think that it would be of the level that I would feel comfortable doing that. Some of them were because I'd gotten inexpensive components to save money back in the day, and others are just, they're just other reasons. I don't really want to talk about it in specific, just because, I know there's probably some people that are fans of some of these costumes, and I appreciate that. But there's just it's one of those things that, like, at least with some of them, I might feel like I have to move on or refresh or consolidate. And if nothing else, I'm kind of also at the point where I would like to have a few suits that really work for me, rather than a lot of suits that I hardly have a chance to wear, especially given the fact that these days I go to a reduced number of furry cons compared to back in the heyday. And not to say that I'm not going to stop that I'm going to stop going to furry cons anytime soon, but they are now balanced with a couple of other things that have become priorities to me in this stage of my life. And but that is not to say, like I said, I'm still going to furry cons. I would like to try and sell books at TFF next year and see how that goes, because it's a large con, it's nearby, and it's in my home state, so I think that it's a good test bed to give a shot for this and see if any of y'all can be interested in what I have to offer. But other than that, that's it for right now. And let's see, right now it's this is being recorded on Memorial Day weekend, so I'm looking forward to having the extra day. I'm going to see what I can figure out and get taken care of in the time I have. And, we'll see if we can't make progress. As for y'all, have a good day, have a good weekend, and I will catch you all in 2 weeks.
If you like werewolves, check out my book Blue Moon, available in paperback and ebook on Amazon. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, click the subscribe button and leave a comment below. Meow.